What if I was bad in a past life? That's one of the common questions that I get when people are nervous about doing past life regression. People are nervous about finding out who they were in a past life, what they did, and what that means for them now. When somebody asks me, what if I was bad in a past life? My kind of flippant response is assume you were Hitler. Assume you were Hitler. Assume you had a past life where you were really bad. You were evil. Now, I'm not saying you did. I'm saying it's going to prepare you better than sitting there hoping you weren't. The fact is, most people had past lives where they did bad things. They killed and they did other things that I'm not going to really talk about because of certain restrictions here. But the fact is, number one, you got to realize you didn't do it. It's not you that did it. It's not really even your soul that did it, although your soul was present. It was the ego of another lifetime. It was another body-mind mechanism that your soul was temporarily involved with. And the thing is, we are put in lifetimes, we put ourselves in lifetimes in order to evolve on a kind of soul level and also just to have experiences. And so think of it this way. Here's another way to think of it. What if you remembered all of your dreams? All of them. You might have done bad things in some of your dreams. Would you feel guilty about that if you remembered your dreams? I mean, it would be appropriate to say, what the hell's going on that I'm having dreams of doing this evil stuff? Absolutely. Look at your own issues, for sure. But should you sit there being racked with guilt because you did something bad in a dream? I mean, that's the dream character that did it anyway. It's not really you that did it. And it's the same for past lives. Part of growing spiritually is forgiving, and primarily forgiving yourself. And forgiving yourself in the past lives is another important aspect of forgiveness, of self-forgiveness. The thing is, spiritual ascension, spiritual growth can only happen to the degree that we integrate these things from our past, whether that be from our childhood or from a past life. Integration, learning, and evolving beyond it is important. Think of the human species. If we were so-called primitive in the past, and we lived in fear of wild animals and other groups of humans, then we reacted out of that fear, out of that survival necessity. And we did things that you would never do right now, but we evolved past that. Now, I don't necessarily follow that primitive versus whatever. I don't think we're that far above it, but just using it as an example. FYI. But anyway, so when we have guilt over bad things we did in a past life, bad things we did in a dream, and even bad things we did earlier in our life, there's one level of that guilt that's a good sign. It's a sign of having a conscience. It's a sign of caring. Let's not get rid of that. But then there's the level of indulging in the guilt and the guilt becoming a blockage to further spiritual growth. We don't want that. So when you worry about who you were in a past life, what you did in a past life, same as childhood, same as any time, same as when you were drunk and you did stupid shit. Been there many times. I'm sorry. But it's better to know these things. It's better to heal these things than to suppress them and to run away from them. Because, like all procrastination, that either leads to a certain downfall or it means you got to deal with the issues in the future. And usually they're even worse at that point. So, what if you did bad things in past lives? Well, unless you haven't had many past lives at all, assume you were Hitler. That's a good shortcut. And P.S., you probably weren't Hitler, okay? I think you know that. Bye-bye.